So really quick, there's a slight lie in the title, a slight lie. And that's because one of these games is only published by Nintendo. It's not made by Nintendo, but it's a really great game, and it's a weird thing because I don't want to put published in the title because that makes it murky and stuff. And I'm just talking about the game really quick first. So these are my top 10 Nintendo Switch games made and published by Nintendo on the Nintendo Switch. I'll have links for every one of these games in the description below that you can go check out as well. The first game, like I said, it's not necessarily made by Nintendo, but it is published by them, and that is Bayonetta 2. And you'll know why if you know anything about this game that I added this into the list, because Bayonetta 2 is freaking awesome. It was a Wii U exclusive. They brought it to the Switch, and now Nintendo also is bringing Bayonetta 3 to the Switch. Because Bayonetta 2 can only be played on the Wii U or the Nintendo Switch, and it's an exclusive, and it's published by Nintendo, that's why I put it on the list. It is an absolutely incredible game. If you like hack and slash combat, things like the Devil May Cry series of the old God of Wars, you need to play Bayonetta 2 if you haven't already. It has a compelling main protagonist, amazing combat, a world that is crazy, intense boss battles, all kinds of weird and interesting and unique combat styles and special moves and different areas and locations and cutscenes and set pieces, and the game is just epic. You can see from the footage here, this game is incredible, and I highly recommend it, especially to anyone that likes that faster paced hack and slash combat, just like this game, that it can be challenging as well. You can play through it and not be super challenged, although there's some parts even on easier difficulties that can be a little bit difficult for people who are not used to this style. But if you like a challenge and you want a game that's really going to give you a hard time but also be incredibly rewarding, I think Bayonetta 2 is going to be the one on this list that's going to be the best for that. So if you like the style of game, this looks interesting to you, definitely pick up Bayonetta 2. Next, I'm going to give a shout out to one of my favorite racing game franchises of all time, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Yeah, it was on the Wii U. Yeah, it's now on the Nintendo Switch. I know this game came out really early on, and I've talked about it in a bunch of my videos, but if you don't have Mario Kart 8, you're missing out. You're missing out because there's online, you're missing out because there's a local co-op, you're missing out because there's online co-op, obviously. You're missing out because there's a ton of races, a ton of characters, a ton of different customizable carts and different options for wheels and stats and all kinds of stuff. The game is chock with battle mode. I forgot about battle mode because I just always forget about that mode. The game is full of amazing content, so much that's just replayable over and over again. I still play it on live streams. I still play it with my family. Mario Kart 8 is just one of those games that everyone should have with their Switch. Even if you don't like traditional racing games, this is not a traditional racing game. It's obviously a racing game, you can see from the gameplay footage, but I just think everyone should have Mario Kart 8. I'm sorry, I keep hitting the mic a little bit. I'm gonna try to stop that. You might hear those weird noises. I don't know if you did. Now maybe you'll just not even notice them, and I shouldn't have noticed anything, but you know what, whatever. Pick up Mario Kart 8 is all I'm trying to say if you don't have it, and if you do have it, you know, just like me, how amazing the game is. Next is Splatoon 2. I've talked about this game. It's kind of Nintendo's version of a shooter. It's a really great game, and I think that if you like the shooter genre, or if you even like just online games where you get to do tons of different types of maps, this is one of the main online games on the Nintendo Switch that has a competitive mode, that has a ranked mode, that you can play casually. There's updates all the time, and I think that's one of the most compelling things about Splatoon is there are so many updates for it all of the time. New weapons. There's continuous Splatfest with all different types of themes and different maps and new ones unveiled all the time. There's just so many updates to this game all the time. They're about to drop a huge DLC. They may have dropped it. I don't think they dropped it already. They're about to drop a massive DLC with a total overhaul of content and a bunch of new content. This game is going to be supported for a long time into the future. If you like games that are continuously supported, they're online, and this gameplay looks even remotely interesting to you, pick up Splatoon 2, because I don't think for most people that they regret it. It's a really great game. All right, so for my fighting game fans, I'm gonna throw two games in here because they're mainly the two fighting games, the only ones published by Nintendo. That's ARMS and Pokkén. And the reason why I'm throwing both of them in there is because every time I do one of these lists, someone gets mad that I put in one over the other. They're like, I like this one better, I like this one better. So I want to throw them both in. So obviously Pokkén Tournament DX is a Pokemon fighting game. It's really cool to be able to play with Pokemon in this kind of a context. They just added some more DLC. I think the DLC is a little overpriced, but it is what it is. It's cool. You know, if you like Pokemon, get the DLC because there's tons of different Pokemon. Now I think they added like 8 more, 6 more. I could be wrong about that, but it's just a really enjoyable game overall. It's a good fighting game on top of being able to have all the special abilities of the different Pokemon. I think it's really cool to be able to change it up each time, and then you can use a different helper Pokemon to give you different abilities. And this is a bit of a more casual fighting game. While you can get really into it, it's definitely not about the mechanics and not about these super deep combos and everything. While you can do that stuff, this isn't a Tekken, this isn't a Street Fighter. This is a more casual, just fun, tons of amazing graphics, incredible special moves with super intense action. I think that's what makes this game charming, and of course that it's Pokemon. So Pokkén Tournament's good. I really like this game, and honestly I think I like Pokkén Tournament a bit more than ARMS, the next game we're talking about. The thing about ARMS that is so cool is that it was Nintendo saying, look, we're gonna make something unique, we're gonna come out with our own fighter, and it's gonna be something no one's ever seen before. The idea of ARMS is the fighter with different arms on each character, and each one of these arms can do different things. They're all extendable and they all fly across the map, and it looks like they're giant slinkies, but they all do different kind of stuff. Some of them spin fast, some of them can go really far, some of them don't go as far, but they go a lot faster, some of them punch a lot harder. They have different move sets. It does consist of each character being able to counteract another character, and certain characters being strong in certain circumstances. And it is cool in that way that it's a bit more competitive, and it's still alive to this day. It's not as alive as, say, something like Splatoon 2, but there's definitely still support for this game. There's definitely still a community around it that does these invitationals and these different events and competitions. So if you like that kind of stuff and you want to play a fighter like that on the Nintendo Switch that isn't a Street Fighter type thing, and you want to have a bit more of a learning curve and more skill involved than something like Pokkén, ARMS is the way to go. Next on the list is Kirby Star Allies. Now, for my review of this game, and the link in the description, I said this game is a really awesome game, but it was a bit too short for my liking. They've added some extra stuff since then, and I'm hoping that they continue to add stuff in the future. But if you're a big Kirby fan, you'll love this game. It is an amazing game, gameplay-wise, story-wise, graphics-wise, all that kind of stuff. It's just pretty short. However, there are a bunch of additional modes, and on top of that, it can be played in single player and in co-op. But I think the real appeal of this game is playing in co-op with younger children, especially if you are an older person and you have children yourself, or if you just have people that are going to come over and play. It's an easy game to breeze through and have a blast with either really casual gamers, or if you just want to destroy and have a little fun time laughing and just joking around and enjoying yourself. Kirby Star Allies is a good game for that. So I'd recommend this game if that's your use case, but if you're looking for a game with a ton of meat, a ton of quantity, a game that just has a ton of stuff to do in it, I might go with a different game on this list, because Kirby is a shorter game, but it's a really good game. Don't get me wrong. Kirby Star Allies is amazing. I just wish it was a little bit longer, had a little more substance to it. But you never know. In the next few months and even the next year, they might add stuff to it. I don't know. Or they'll just go on to Yoshi, and that would be a great thing too, I guess. We'll see how Yoshi is. That's an interesting one as well. So I guess to contrast that then, I'm going to talk about Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which is one of the biggest games on the Nintendo Switch. You can log hundreds of hours into this game. It's a bit polarizing because some people really like it and some people don't like it as much. It has a combat where you press a button and your character can just go continue to hit them, and then you can use skills and stuff in battle, kind of like MMOs, if for people that have played those before, like the World of Warcrafts of the world, or the original Dragon Age Origins, stuff like that. It does have a bit of a more PC game feel, but I like that personally. Those are my type of games, those RPGs, that I'm not as focused on the deep, intensive combat. I'm not constantly having to slash, do all this crazy stuff. It's more about the tactics, and I think that's really amazing. But this has an amazing, giant, beautiful world, a sprawling story, hundreds of quests. There's just so much to do in this game that if you want a big meaty game, the opposite of Kirby, like I said, something that's going to last you hundreds of hours, look at this gameplay, see if you like it, and if it seems even remotely interesting to you, pick up Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I loved this game. I think I should do a review on it just because people are so polarized about it. If you'd like to see me do a Xenoblade Chronicles 2 review, let me know in the comments below. I'd be interested in doing that. I might do it anyway, even if you don't say anything. But if you want to, you could say something that might help. I might appreciate that. So yeah, you want something big, you want something sprawling, you want an RPG with hundreds of hours of content, deep mechanics, huge story, quests, tons of different land masses, and open world, all that stuff. This is the game to pick up. Now, a game that just came out that was also on the Wii U but is now on the Nintendo Switch is Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. This is one of the best 2D platformers. That was probably super annoying, and I'm sorry. You can just look at the gameplay footage and the different stuff, watch the different trailers. If you like 2D platformers and you like interesting, unique, innovative platformers, ones that make you think of the old retro days and also say, look at what this new technology can do, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze is that game. Incredible music, incredible graphics, incredible set pieces. The way the different levels are, I mean, it's hard to say without showing all the stuff, and I don't want to do that because I want people to experience it for themselves. But there is just such a variety in the levels, how they work, how the mechanics are. It's just so hard to explain without showing stuff. But this game, if you like 2D platformers, get this game. This game, there's hard parts in this game. They have Funky Kong in this one because the game was so hard that they wanted more casual people to be able to just jump in and not have to worry about falling on the spikes and things like that. He just got up tons of buffs to make him really easy and fun to play. But this game actually has difficulty. It is a difficult 2D platformer, and that's awesome. So if you like old retro 2D platformers, if you like Donkey Kong, if you like 2D platformers at all, if you like a bit of a challenge, or you just like to have fun with Funky Kong because he's just does whatever he wants, I'd really recommend this game. It has more content. I think it's more enjoyable than Kirby Star Allies, and it's in the same vein as that, though, is it's not like the most gigantic game. If you're looking for an experience as a skilled gamer, Donkey Kong is 100% the way to go, because that game, oh, it's so fun. I'm so glad that when I knew they brought that to the Switch, when they announced that in that direct release here, I was so excited because it's an amazing game. So now for the big two. You knew these were coming. They always come in these lists. The first one, Super Mario Odyssey. I'm still debating. I still feel like Super Mario 64 holds that special place in my heart as my favorite Mario game ever, in my opinion, as there's a lot of different stuff about it. But Super Mario Odyssey probably is the most fun Mario game I've ever played. And I love the old 2D games, but when I just want to sit down and play a game, it would either be a 2D game that could be easy and just jump through a bunch of levels, or this one. It's hard to compare the two because, you know, you got Super Mario World, and we'll pretend we're not talking about the 2D games so no one gets all inflammatory in the comments below. But when it comes to 3D Mario games, this is the one I'm going to pick up and play. Even if I have the opportunity, both are hooked up, Super Mario 64, Super Mario Odyssey, I'm probably going to pick up Super Mario Odyssey. There is so much content here. You will spend hours and hours and hours playing this game, trying to get all the moons. Even after you beat the game, when all the levels you find out have tons and tons more in them, you can go back and do all kinds of unique stuff you didn't see before and you couldn't do before. It's just an amazing game. There's so many varieties in the kingdoms and how you can change all of Mario's costumes, and that Cappy, you throw him and he takes over different enemies. You can run around as Goombas, you can run around as Koopas, you can run around as Cheep Cheeps, or I swim around as Cheep Cheeps, I guess I should say. There's all types of stuff. This game is so innovative, and if you haven't heard about this game, I don't know why I'm explaining it all, because you should have heard about this game by now. If you haven't, and you have a Nintendo Switch and you don't have Super Mario Odyssey, pick it up. You will not regret it. This game's incredible. There's co-op in this game too. A lot of people don't know that because they play it single player, but you can play this game co-op. It's not like the most in-depth co-op. Someone plays as the Cap and just flies around the Cap and takes over things, and someone plays as Mario. So if you're playing like with Kirby Star Allies with a child or someone that just wants to be a lot more casual and just enjoy the experience, it's got co-op too. So Super Mario Odyssey is a game I would highly recommend. It got 10s out of 10s everywhere. It barely got beat out Game of the Year by the other game I'm about to talk about on this list. So you should get Super Mario Odyssey if you don't have it. And if you have it, you're probably just sitting here like, I can't believe he's explaining this game because it's the best game ever. But you know, there's people that don't have it. They haven't experienced what we've experienced, and I want to share that. And of course, the game that won all those Game of the Year awards that isn't Super Mario Odyssey, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Ocarina of Time is definitely still my favorite Zelda game. This is the best Zelda game. And what I mean by best Zelda game is it has amazing mechanics, a gigantic open world. It's so fun to play. Also go back and play Ocarina of Time any day, but I will still go back and play Breath of the Wild any day. The game is incredible. Whether it's the fact that they've revolutionized climbing mechanics, it's got the first real voice acting in any Zelda game, it's got a compelling story, but more than that, the fact that you can loot all different kinds of weapons. Your weapons break. Any enemy you kill, you can basically take their weapons. Sometimes their weapons suck, sometimes they're better. There's all types of secrets to unlock and different costumes and different abilities. The DLC for the game is incredible. This game is, everything is good about it. I'll link to the videos where I talk more in depth about The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey. I've done quite a few videos talking about them. And again, this is a game that if you should have heard of by now. If you're watching this video and you also have never heard of or seen The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, pick it up. You need Super Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild in your game collection. Whoever you are, whatever you do, pick up those two games. They're worth it. They're incredible. They're amazing. They're 10 out of 10 games. No one should not have these. I wish Zelda sold as many as Mario. I know Mario is more appealing and always sells more than Zelda, but come on, Breath of the Wild is amazing. But before you go, I'm throwing two more in here. Yes, we are going above 10, but it's not really for the reason you might think. First is, I have to give Mario plus Rabbids some love. I know it's not a Nintendo game, it's a Ubisoft game with a Nintendo franchise in it, but this game does not get enough love. It is the XCOM of the Nintendo Switch, and it is so good. If you like XCOM, if you like these strategy-like games, and even if you don't, even if you've been interested in them but they seem intimidating, get this game. This game deserves more love. It's consistently dropped down. I see it all the time at $29.99. It is such an incredible game, especially if you can get it at that price. It's 100% worth it. They've added added DLC since then, and it's so polished, and it seems like a Nintendo game. Most people would be like, yeah, this is just a regular Nintendo game, and then they added Ubisoft into it. But it's actually the opposite, where it's Ubisoft and then they put Nintendo stuff into it. And it's charming, it's funny, it's a good story, it's amazing to play. This game doesn't get enough love. I wish more people played this game. And sometimes I think it's a bad rap because it's not a regular Nintendo game, but it doesn't deserve it. More people need to play Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, please. And last, I'm gonna throw this game in there, but that's Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. Like Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, another game getting ported from the Wii U. If you've never seen any of these Warriors games like Dynasty Warriors and stuff like that, it's basically just a destroy hundreds of enemies combat fest where you get to play as a massive amount of characters from the Zelda universe. You get to go to all these different places, and there's a storyline to it, even though it wouldn't seem like there could be with how it's set up and everything. And it's just a fun hack and slash, destroy thousands of enemies, use crazy moves, get to play as all your favorite characters type things. This is one of those games where it's just fun to sit down and just destroy, and like you can see from the gameplay footage here, it's unbelievable what you can do in this game. You just destroy hundreds of enemies. And if you haven't seen the Dynasty Warrior games, that's where this franchise comes from. There's also Fire Emblem Warriors on the Switch if you're more into Fire Emblem, and it's also a bit more polished because the game came out after Hyrule Warriors, and it's kind of like, what did we learn from Hyrule Warriors? How can we make it better with Fire Emblem? But for a lot of people, Zelda is more popular than Fire Emblem. But if you like Fire Emblem more, 100% pick up Fire Emblem Warriors, because that is debatably a better game when it comes to mechanics and some of the things they fixed. But I'm going to pick up Hyrule Warriors because I love Zelda. I like those games, and anything to get my hands on more Zelda is good with me. All right, guys, I'm going to end this list here. It's been a while. I should have probably ended it earlier. It's just a long video. I always try, I'm going to get this video short. It's going to be like 13 minutes. 25 minutes later, I'm like, no, it's not short. Anyway, I hope this video helped you decide if there's any of these games that you like. If you haven't played any of them, I hope you can enjoy them. And if there's anything I missed, leave it down in the comments below, or leave ideas for future videos that you'd like to see in the comments below. And if you like this video and you're new to the community, make sure to hit the subscribe button. And whether you're new or you've been subscribed for a while, hit the notification bell so you can be notified of all of my new videos. And don't forget to give that like button some love. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let's continue creating the greatest community in the world. I'll see all you guys in the next video.